of all transcendental qualities. I am afraid that the goddess of fortune and I would quarrel because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord is here addressed as Akila Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the entire creation. Purusha means the enjoyer, and Uttama means the best. There are different kinds of Purushas, or enjoyers, within the universe. Generally, they can be divided into three classes. Those who are conditioned, those who are liberated, and those who are eternal. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal of all eternals, Nityo Nityanam. Both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities are eternal. The Supreme Eternals are the Vishnu Tattva, or Lord Vishnu, and his expansions. So Nitya refers to the personality of Godhead, beginning from Krishna to Mahavishnu, Narayana, and other expansions of Lord Krishna. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadimurtisu, there are millions and trillions of expansions of Lord Vishnu as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, and other incarnations. All of them are called eternals. The word mukta refers to the living entities who never come within this material world. The Baddhas are those living entities who are almost eternally living within this material world. The Baddhas are struggling very hard within this material world to become free from the threefold miseries of material nature and to enjoy life. Whereas the muktas are already liberated. They never come into this material world. Lord Vishnu is the master of this material world. And there is no question of his being controlled by material nature. Consequently, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Purushottama, the best of all living entities, namely Vishnu Tattvas and Jiva Tattvas. It is a great offense, therefore, to compare Lord Vishnu and the Jiva Tattvas or consider them on an equal level. The Mayavadi philosophers equalize the Jivas and the Supreme Lord and consider them to be one. But that is the greatest offense to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Here in the material world, we have practical experience that a superior person is worshipped by an inferior one. Similarly, Purushottama, the greatest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or Lord Vishnu, is always worshipped by others. Pritha Maharaj therefore decided to engage in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Pritha Maharaj considered to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but he is called a Shaktavisha incarnation. Another significant word in this verse is Gunalayam, which refers to Vishnu as the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. The Mayavadi philosophers take the absolute truth to be nirguna, without qualities, in accordance with the impersonalistic view, but actually the Lord is the reservoir of all good qualities. One of the most important qualities of the Lord is his inclination to his devotees, for which he is called Bhaktavatsala. The devotees are always very much inclined to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord is also very much inclined to accept loving service from his devotees. In that exchange of service, there are many transcendental transactions, which are called transcendental qualitative activities. Some of the transcendental qualities of the Lord are that he is omniscient, he is omnipresent, all pervasive, all powerful, the cause of all causes, the absolute truth, the reservoir of all pleasures, the reservoir of all knowledge, and of all knowledge, the all auspicious, and so on. Prithu Maharaj desired to serve the Lord with the goddess of fortune. But this desire does not mean that he was situated on a platform of Madhurya Rasa. The goddess of fortune is engaged in the service of the Lord in the rasa of Madhurya, conjugal love. Although her position is on the chest of the Lord, the goddess of fortune, in her position as a devotee, takes pleasure in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaja was thinking only of the lotus feet, only of the lotus feet of the Lord, because he is on the platform of Dasya Rasa, or servitorship of the Lord. From the next verse, we learn that Prithu Maharaja was thinking of the goddess of fortune as the universal mother, Jagan Mata. Consequently, there was no question of his competing with her on the platform of Madhurya Rasa. Nonetheless, he feared that she might take offense at his engaging in the service of the Lord. This suggests that in the absolute world, there is sometimes competition between servitors in the service of the Lord, but such competition is without malice in the Vaikuntha worlds. If a devotee excels in the service of the Lord, others do not become envious of his excellent service, but rather aspire to come to the platform of that service. Well, that's good news. There's no enviousness amongst genuine devotees. Okay, text 28. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe. And yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. Well, getting really complicated here. Women have their, let's say, way of doing things, and men have their way of doing things. Sometimes there's a clash. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mother Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord Narayana in every detail. She takes care not only of his lotus feet, but of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there's hardly any opportunity for any other devotee to intrude upon his daily activities. Prithu Maharaja was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals, sacrifices according to karma kanda, or fruitive activity. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service, and therefore it is stated in the Vishnu Purana that by following the principles of Varnashrama Dharma, one can satisfy the Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. Prithu Maharaja, therefore, expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him as being greater than that of Lakshmiji. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So Prithu Maharaja indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu because he is self-sufficient and can do anything and everything without help of Lakshmiji. For example, when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmi, who was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnates the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmiji. Being self-sufficient, the Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj was confident that even if the goddess of fortune became angry with him, there would be no harm neither to the Lord nor to himself. Text 29. Great saintly persons who are always liberated take to your devotional service because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. The karmis are generally engaged in fruitive activities for material bodily comforts. The jnanis, however, are disgusted with searching after material comforts. They understand that they have nothing to do with this material world, being spirit souls. After self-realization, the jnanis, who are actually mature in their knowledge, must surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ahanam Janmanamante. Self-realization is not complete unless one comes to the devotional platform. Therefore, it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that those who are Atmaramas, self-satisfied, are freed from all contaminations of the material modes of nature. As long as one is affected by the modes of material nature, especially by rajas and tamas, he will be very greedy and lusty, and will therefore engage in hard tasks, laboring all day and night. Such false egoism carries one from one species of life into another perpetually, and there is no rest in any species of life. The jnani understands this fact and therefore ceases to work and takes to karma sannyasa. Yet, this is not actually the platform of satisfaction. After self-realization, the material wisdom of the jnani leads him to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Then he is satisfied only in contemplating the lotus feet of the Lord constantly. Prithu Maharajas, therefore, Prithu Maharaja therefore concluded that liberated persons taking to the devotional path have acquired the ultimate goal of life. If liberation were the end in itself, there would be no question of a liberated person's taking to devotional service. In other words, the transcendental bliss derived from self-realization, known as Atmananda, is very insignificant in the presence of the bliss derived from devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaja therefore concluded that he would simply hear of the glories of the Lord constantly and thus engage his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. Wow. Harivilas. Now we know what is the highest perfection of life. Always hearing the pastimes of the Lord and engage one's mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Text number 30. My dear Lord, you have said to your unalloyed devotee, is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offered in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by the sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in fruitive activities, enamored by the results of their actions. Shivanarthan Das Thakur, a great acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has said that persons who are very much attached to the fruitive activities of the Vedas, named Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, are certainly doomed certainly doomed. In the Vedas, there are three categories of activities known as Karma Kanda, or fruitive activities, Jnana Kanda, philosophical research, and Upasana Kanda, worship of the different demigods for receiving material benefits. Those who are engaged in Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda are doomed, in the sense that everyone is doomed who is entrapped by this material body, whether it is a body of a demigod, a king, a lower animal, or whatever. The sufferings of the threefold miseries of material nature are the same for all. Cultivation of knowledge to understand one's spiritual position is also, to a certain extent, a waste of time. Because the living entity is an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. His immediate business is to engage himself in devotional service. Prithu Maharaja therefore says that the allurement of material benedictions is another trap to entangle one in this material world. He therefore frankly tells the Lord that the Lord's offerings of benediction in the form of material facilities are certainly causes for bewilderment. A pure devotee is not at all interested in bhukti or mukti, that is material life or liberation. The Lord sometimes offers benedictions to the neophyte devotees who have not yet understood that material facilities will not make them happy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord therefore says that a sincere devotee who is not very intelligent may ask some material benefit from the Lord. But the Lord, being omniscient, meaning understanding everything, does not generally give material rewards, but on the contrary, takes away whatever material facilities are being enjoyed by his devotee, so that ultimately the devotee will completely surrender unto him. We better be careful. We should all be careful, because if we're not really seriously following Krishna consciousness, then the Lord's mercy is he'll take away everything we have just so we wake up and get serious about devotional service. In other words, the offering of benedictions in the form of material profit is never auspicious for the devotee. The statements of the Vedas, which offer elevation to heavenly planets in exchange for great sacrifices, are simply bewildering. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 2.42, the Lord says, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha. The less intelligent class of men, avipaschita, attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, engage in fruitive activities to become materially benefited. Thus, they continue life after life in different bodily forms to search very, very hard. In other words, they never become liberated from the cycle of birth and death because they're not completely surrendered to the Lord. But they are misled by the flowery words of the Vedas that promise so many, let's say, benefits of what you would call pseudo-devotional services. Okay, so text 31. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position. And out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you. But as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. Very nice statement. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is the duty of the son to depend upon his father without asking anything from him. The good son has faith that the father knows best how to benefit him. Similarly, a pure devotee does not ask anything from the Lord for material benefit, nor does he ask anything for spiritual benefit. The pure devotee is fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord takes charge of him, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 1866, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami. The Lord, the Father, knows the necessities of the Son and supplies them. And the Supreme Lord knows the necessities of living entities and supplies them sumptuously. Therefore, this Ishopanishad states that everything in this material world is complete. Purnam idam. The difficulty is that due to forgetfulness, the living entities create unnecessary demands and entangle themselves in material activities. The result is that there is no end to material activities, life after life. Before us, there are varieties of living entities, and everyone is entangled in transmigrations and activities. Our duty is simply to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and let him take charge, for he knows what is good for us. Prithu Maharaja therefore tells the Lord that as the Supreme Father, he may elect to bestow whatever he considers beneficial for Prithu Maharaj. That is the perfect position of the living entity. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in his Shikshastika, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadishakamaya Mamajan Mani Janmani Spare Avtad Bhakti Ahaituki Tvayi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor have I any desire to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. The conclusion is that the pure devotee should not aspire after any material benefit from devotional service, nor should he be enamored by fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. He should always be engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. Wow. A very wonderful statement. And this is the real culture of Krishna consciousness. We don't have to ask Krishna for anything. We simply have to be engaged in the devotion of the Lord. And this prayer is very nice. It's a verse. Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmani sware bhavatad bhakti rahaituki tvai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor have I any desire to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. The conclusion is that the pure devotee should not aspire after any material benefit from devotional service, nor should he be enamored by fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. He should always be engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, text number 32. The great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king. My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose as you yourself very intelligently express can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. Okay, so it's only by devotional service that one can cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. If we're not engaged in devotional service, well, we're going to have a lot of problems in this life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, wherein the Lord also claims that the illusory energy is insurmountable. No one can transcend the illusory energy of Maya by fruitive activity. Speculative philosophy or mystic yoga. The only means for transcending illusory energy is devotional service. As the Lord himself states, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayamitam tarantite. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. If one wants to cross over the ocean of material existence, there is no alternative than to take to devotional service. A devotee, therefore, should not care for any material position, whether in heaven or in hell. A pure devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. Simply by sticking to that position, one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Mam evaye prapadyante, mayamitam tarantite. That's Bhagavad Gita 7:14. That is, the only means for transcending the illusory energy is devotional service, as the Lord himself states. Mam evaye prapadyante, mayamitam tarantite. Bhagavad Gita 7:14. If one wants to cross over the ocean of material existence, there is no alternative than to take to devotional service. A devotee, therefore, should not care for any material position, whether in heaven or in hell. A pure devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. Simply by sticking to that position, one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. Well, there it is. This is the ultimate, let's say, wisdom. Evaye prapadyante, mayamitam tarantite. If one wants to cross over the ocean of material existence, there is no other alternative than to take to devotional service. A devotee, therefore, should not care for any material position, whether in heaven or in hell. A pure devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. Simply by sticking to that position, one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. What is that position? That is, always engage in the service of the Lord. Very simple. I mean, it's like ABC, but uh, for some people, it's too complicated. But it's not. It's very simple. Just be engaged in the service of the Lord without any material expectations. Rather, the expectation should be to have an eternal life in of devotional service. That should be the only expectation. Text 33. My dear king, O protector of the citizens, henceforward be very careful to execute my orders and not be misled by anything. Anyone who lives in that way, simply carrying out my orders faithfully, will always find good fortune all over the world. This is a very nice verse. Very, very nice verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The sum and substance of religious life is to execute the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And one who does so is perfectly religious. In Bhagavad Gita, well, wait a minute. When it says here, execute the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what are those orders? You have to follow the regulative principles. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Always chant Hare Krishna, eat only Krishna Prasadam, associate with devotees, and come out on Harinam Sankirtan. Haribol. Now you'll be executing the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And one who does so is perfectly religious. In Bhagavad Gita 1865, the Supreme Lord Krishna says, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta, just think of me always and become my devotee. Furthermore, the Lord says, Sarvadharmam Parityaja, Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. This is the primary principle of religion. What is that? Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto Krishna. This is the primary principle of religion. Anyone who directly executes such an order from the personality of Godhead is actually a religious person. Others are described as pretenders, for there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion, which are not actually religious. For one who executes the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, there is only good fortune throughout the world. Well, we should actually follow this advice to surrender completely to the Lord, and then all good fortune will be experienced. Sarvadharman pradityaja mamekam saranam vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagements and simply surrender unto me, meaning Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 1866. This is the primary principle of religion. That is, give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto the Lord. Anyone who directly executes such an order from the personality of Godhead is actually a religious person. Others are described as pretenders, for there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion, which are not actually religious. For one who executes the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, there is only good fortune throughout the world. Well, this might help us understand the position of, say, a uh, a, uh, a person like the uh, um, the elevated personality in Christianity who just died. What was his name?
Pope.
Pope. So the Pope was a meat eater. And so, was he actually a real leader of society? Well, many people will argue yes. However, he had some faults. And due to those faults, he's actually misleading people. Although he wants people to pray, I mean, Christians, that's their I'd say their real thing is praying all the time. And in the in Christianity, the monks, they have to be praying almost 24 hours a day. But then they have their breaks, the time breaks where they sit down and they eat meat. So there's a problem there. Now, not every one of the monks or the ladies that are completely dedicated are meat eaters. Not all of them, but most of them are. So that means that all the good things they do uh, are let's say, annihilated by the meat eating. So, I mean, meat eating is a very sinful thing. So the ladies and the men, they're not supposed to engage in gambling, illicit sex, intoxication. Well, actually, what they're doing two things every day that are violating the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. They eat meat and they drink wine. Is that right? Yeah. The, in vino, what did it say? Anyway, and in fact, they actually cultivate wine in their monasteries. So those two things are very sinful. They don't think they're sinful; they think it's normal. So this meat eating and drinking wine has caused a lot of problems in Christianity amongst the renounced people, the monks and the ladies who are renounced. Uh, there are a lot of uh, you know spiritual people who become addicted to drinking wine, and sometimes they have these special places where they can live because they're addicted. Right. So obviously, not everyone gets addicted, but there are some who get addicted, and then they have special places where they can live, and gradually, maybe, hopefully, get free from their addiction. So we see in Krishna consciousness, we have the full knowledge of how to have a spiritual life. In Christianity, where they think that wine is not as sinful, but actually it is. Actually, Prabhupada said there's no uh, there is no uh, there's no river long enough to purify a drop of wine in a cup. So in other words, it's very sinful to drink wine or any type of intoxicant. But yet, almost every meal that the monks have and the Christians have, they have wine. It's an intoxicant. It is not meant for a spiritual person. And because of that, it causes a lot of problems in Christianity. Okay, so not all the Christians drink wine, but almost all of them do. There are some maybe that have given that up or who are real, uh, you know, uh, real persons who have given up bad habits. But almost every time the Christian monks sit down for food, they have wine. So it's a problem. Therefore, here it says, uh, just think of me always and become my devotee. Furthermore, the Lord says, Sarvadharma Purityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. This is the primary principle of religion. Anyone who directly executes such an order from the personality of Godhead is actually a religious person. Others are described as pretenders, for there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion, which are not actually religious. Well, that is wine drinking. It's done in the name of religion, but it's not actually religious. For one who executes the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, there is only good fortune throughout the world. So Prabhupada says, give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 66. Prabhupada says, this is the primary principle of religion. Give up all kinds of material engagement. Drinking wine is a material engagement. It's an intoxicant. So, will the monks and the Christians give up drinking wine? Well, there might be some, but most drink wine. That means they're not really surrendered unto the Lord. So give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. This is the primary principle of religion. Anyone who directly executes such an order from the personality of God is actually a religious person. Others are described as pretenders, for there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion, which are not actually religious, while wine drinking is one of them. For one who executes the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, there is only good fortune throughout the world. Okay, so this is one of the faults of Christianity. They actually cultivate wine. The monks, they have vineyards and they cultivate wine. They drink it almost every day, and they sell it also to maintain their monasteries. Not everyone, not all the monks, but a lot of them. So they would be considered to be pretenders. For there are many activities going on throughout the world in the name of religion, which are not actually religious. Yeah, so now you have others, like there's some orders of female monks. They smoke marijuana. Yeah, you can look it up. Female monks that smoke marijuana. Female. They're not accepted by the serious Christians, but there are ladies that dress like renunciates that smoke marijuana on a regular basis as part of their spiritual engagements. You see it? Female monks that smoke marijuana. Sarvadharman Purityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. This is the primary principle of religion. So this is what our takeaway is for today. And we should memorize this. Sarvadharman Purityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1866. If we follow this principle, which is given here, Sarvadharman Purityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja, give up all kinds of material engagements and simply surrender unto me. This is the primary principle of religion. Bhagavad Gita 1866. Sarvadharman Purityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja. What does it say about the monk, the female monks that smoke marijuana? They don't only drink wine, they also smoke marijuana. You see anything?
Yeah, I'm just reading through Maharaj, but it has a lot of information.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. What does it say?
It says a female monk or nun smoking marijuana recreationally would likely be seen as going against her vows and the expectations of her religious community. If there is a health need, if there is a health need, it might be treated more like any other medicine with discriminant. So it's not calling it out like exactly they are taking marijuana. It's just saying maybe because of the health reasons or some other specific purpose they might be taking, but it's not carrying it like they are taking marijuana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can I read about it?
Yes, go ahead.
The concept of female monks smoking weed is not a mainstream religious practice, but there are notable exceptions. The Sisters of the Valley are a group of women who dress in religious habits and call themselves nuns, but they are not affiliated with any traditional religious order and are known for their involvement in the cannabis industry. While this group is not a traditional religious order, they do engage with religious symbolism and practices while also being involved in cannabis related activities.
Okay, so they are renegades functioning outside the authority of the Catholic Church, but they dress like nuns and they smoke marijuana. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay. You'll see everything in this world. It's amazing. Nuns that smoke marijuana, dress like a nun. Okay. So our takeaway today, and this is something we should memorize. Sarvadharmam prityaja mamekam saranam praja. Krishna says, give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. This is our takeaway today, and it's our takeaway eternally. Sarvadharmam prityaja mamekam saranam praja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and surrender unto me. Okay, so that's what we should memorize, and we should say it every day. As soon as we wake up, we should say Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Raja. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. This is the ultimate what we say ultimate wisdom of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness. Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Raja. Give up everything and simply surrender unto me. Haribol. So that is our takeaway today. Bhagavad Gita 1866. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto Krishna. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Also it says, Man manabhava mad bhakto. Just think of me always and become my devotee. That's another wonderful phrase that we should memorize. Man manabhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru, which means just think of me always and become my devotee. Or Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Raja, Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. These are the two takeaways of today's wisdom of Srimad Bhagavatam. Man manabhava mad bhaktu mad vijiman namaskuru and Sarvadharma Parityajya Mahamekam Saranam Braja. Haribol. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me, Krishna says. So that is Bhagavad Gita 1866 and Bhagavad Gita 1865. Wow. And it says that 1866, Sarvadharma Parityajya Mahamekam Saranam Braja. This is the primary principle of religion. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto me. If you just memorize this one line, that is what you would call the most important recommendation in spiritual life. Give up all kinds of material engagement and simply surrender unto Krishna. This is the primary principle of religion. And that's what we have learned today. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Sarvadharma Parityajya Mahamekam Saranam Braja. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Or also, Manmanabhava Mad Bhakto, always think of me and become my devotee. So those are two takeaways for today. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Okay, we'll not end there, but we'll take a little break of 11 hours and pick it up again tonight. Hare Bol.